So what was in the bag at the end of this video? First of all, I have never received so many dislikes on a video as on the video of my Erin Condren order has arrived. And you guys, I didn't know whether to laugh or cry, but apparently one should not show a bag and then not reveal what's in the bag, okay? Lesson learned. So without further ado, and I did have good reason, I had piano students coming and I didn't want to rush through this. So here is what was in the bag, and this is what I chose. And you know, this was the hardest year ever to make a choice. Not one person guessed that I would choose camel. A lot of you guessed what's inside, but nobody guessed camel, and I've already done some setting up. So in that video of my Erin Condren order has arrived, I said I can't wait to show you what I do with this about a certain item. Here is that item. Now, yes, this is beautiful. What it is an Erin Condren interchangeable cover that I cut. Now, before you get scared that this is all going to peel up, it might peel up, but I did this last year for my no teak agenda with another Erin Condren cover, and it has not yet peeled up. So you're taking a chance, yes, but mine has not peeled up. This is the lamination, and you know when you cut into where something has been laminated, you run the risk of it pulling loose. Well, I do have a laminating machine. What I will do if this starts to pull up is run it through that machine. I don't know if that will fix it, but I'm taking the chance because I really wanted this set up. So I ordered the peony cover and changed the background to the more ice blue of the two blue choices. One is more turquoise and one is more this color. And just put my name on it. And I trimmed this with a large paper cutter and measured it using my vellum sheet. And what we have inside, you probably have guessed, is the flora pattern. And I chose the daily layout. So I've been toying with the idea of switching my weekly planner to that weekly agenda that the folks at Erin Condren were kind enough to send me in the beautiful mid-century circles cover. I'm still going to use that, but it will not be my weekly planner. I think it will be something else. It might be my memory verse place where I write my memory verse every day. It might be my on-the-go to-do list. It will not be my primary weekly planner. I'm going to stick with my binder for that in the hourly format because I've just grown so used to that. But I do enjoy that horizontal, playing with it, making stickers for it. But anyway, this is what the flora looks like in the daily. You probably have seen this on somebody else's account because some other of the affiliates were sent daily planners and I was not, but I love it. It's just your basic daily that we're used to in an A5 format. It goes from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. with an extra line at the bottom. So to-do list, everything is just miniaturized. And I love this. I just decided I do love mid-century circles, but since I have that in my hourly binder, I want flora in my daily agenda. So another thing that I've done is, well, I took the back cover and did the same thing with it from the interchangeable covers that I ordered. Okay, and since these have the wipe off area, you could center it. You don't have to, but I wanted this to be somewhat centered. I didn't do a perfect job, but I also ordered a notepad for the back because this fits the medium-size Erin Condren notepads perfectly. There's a nice slit here in this back pocket. I believe there's a mistake in my order, although this is beautiful. I think I customized the colorway to be this color, but this is super pretty. I may contact customer service to see if I can get this color sent, but honestly, I'm okay with this. I don't mind it. And then I went ahead, even though I'm a gel pen girl, and got the ballpoint Flora pen to complete the look because this is just too pretty. I saw it at my mom's because she did order the Flora Weekly, And so I've already seen this in person and I thought it was beautiful. It has rose gold details instead of yellow gold. And I know some people have been switching out their rings because you can actually buy rings, I think from Amazon, and switch them. But I love gold, so I don't think I'm going to do that unless mine break or something. And I did check my rings to make sure they line up. I know that a few people have had some issues with defective rings. I have not. Did you see how easy? But that was just interesting. Why did I go with camel? Because this is such a close look to real leather, to like animal leather. The suede is so nice that I thought this looked very realistic as real leather. Honestly, I don't have a problem with vegan leather, although that term cracks my mother up. She'd never heard it before when I told her her blush agenda was vegan leather. I don't have a problem with that. This doesn't have a smell or anything that makes me feel like it is synthetic. It's fine. If I'm using it as a daily, I worry about getting it dirty. So I wanted to have one that could take a little bit of, I don't know, everyday use, my hand being here. If I had lotion on my hand or something and inadvertently got it on my planner, I don't want to mess it up. But that mid-century circles is so gorgeous. I mean, it's gorgeous, but this is what I was feeling. So I went with the camel. So let's compare the camel with the mid-century circles. Okay, so of course they're exactly the same size. I love this. I think if, I don't know, depending on my mood, I may just change things up. This is where my weekly mid-century circles pages are, and this is where my Flora daily pages are. I may just change my mood. You know, like this is obviously appropriate for any season, and this is also, but this kind of makes me feel like warm weather and sunshine. And this makes me feel like, I don't know, any time of the year, but especially fall, pumpkin spice lattes, winter. But who knows? I think it will really just be a case of what is my mood. So inside this one, I've already done some playing around. We'll move this one out of the way for the time being, and I'll show you what I've done in here. So I took my old, I think this is called Candy Dot. The name of this, Erin Condren, sorry, there's a pen in here. There is a cover, I think called Candy Dots. I'm not positive. I don't know, but this was an old Erin Condren cover that was not personalized. It was on a notebook, came on a notebook. So I cut it down the same way that I did the Flora one. And then I took my name sticker and my handle sticker and just personalized it. And then what's over here? Is this personal? No. So I'm just using this as a spot, or I have been using this as a spot to put sticky notes. You can also use your vellum. And then I took my plain vellum and added some mid-century circles to it with stickers. This is clear sticker paper, and I made some mid-century circle stickers to go on my Lots of Style little mini wastebasket. I have since changed it to butterflies, but it used to have these on it and I had some extras. So I thought, well, that's perfect for this vellum sheet because it comes plain. And then I personalized this. Some of this has already been in a video. Here is something new. This is something new. I punched holes in my little plastic focused collection sticky note tabs. And then I also cut slits here so that I would not have to open the rings like I just did. So I could actually close them and snap it in. Okay. And this was that kit that I made. If you saw on Instagram, I went ahead and made a kit and didn't do a plan with it just because I was so excited to use this kit. And honestly, I love it. I think it's really fun to make stickers for this, but I love my hourly binder and I just can't give that up. I love it so much. And on this one, I just have a scheduling pad with hours in it because I was thinking if I'm using the horizontal, which doesn't have hours, it would be nice to have a schedule pad with hours on it. but I think I'm going to put a mid-century circles pad in the back just so everything's matchy-matchy. And why don't I also take this beauty and put it in here to complete the look. Now, as far as this goes, since I tested it out, I think I'm going to take the plunge and cut these out and go extremely matchy-matchy. So this is the metallic mid-century circles cover that I don't know is still available on the site, but I know the non-metallic one has come back. It went away for a while. So, you know, some of you may cringe because this is what they look like, and I actually cut them down. I go into where the paper inside the lamination is, and I cut. And, you know, yes, it's a risk, but what's the worst thing that could happen? It could peel up, and then maybe my laminator won't fix it, and I have to use a different one. That, to me, is not a tragedy. You know, the covers are not that expensive, and sometimes they're buy one, get one free. So I'm going to, instead of using this, since this was a test, I used one of my non-personalized covers. I'm going to cut this down and put it in here. So if you hang on just a second, I'll be right back with it cut. Here we are. So far everything looks fine. I do have a heavy duty paper cutter. It's just the kind that slices down. It's not the ones like from Michael's that just slide. I don't know if those would work. So the measurements are 5 7/8 by 8 3/8. 5 7/8, 8 3/8. And then to cut these holes, I have a really nice hole punch for A5s that I got at Michael's. And it's a Recollections brand. I hope they still have it. I got it last year on sale. And I have this thing really full. So I actually might decide to take out some. I have a whole year's worth of pages in here, and they work. I don't know. I'll leave them in there for now. They do work, but if you want to open and close the rings, it's a little bit much. And I'm trying to adhere to the advice that one of you gave me to use the little tabs. I'm trying to do that. Or else, when I open them, to at least do it here. I was doing it here. And I think that distributes the pressure more evenly and probably is better on those rings. So here is what this looks like now. So again, I can't guarantee that yours will turn out fine and that your lamination will not peel up. But to me, this is a nice addition to my planner, and it's worth it to me to go ahead and take the chance, even if it only lasts for half of a year to a year. That's okay. Moving back to the Camel Daily agenda, I would like to incorporate my Flora sticky notes into this. So that is going to require a bit of modification on the sticky note backing. I'll show you. Here are the stylized sticky notes in the Flora pattern. This is the standard size for all of Erin Condren's stylized sticky notes. That's what they call them. And you can maneuver these little coil openings to snap in, but they don't turn easily. And if you try to close it with this hooked, let's just pretend that's hooked onto the rings, you are not going to have success because this magnetic closure doesn't quite reach. Here's what I did with my mid-century circles. Sticky notes. There was enough of a margin on this side that I was able to just punch holes and add them like this. But what I wish I had done was to move the sticky notes over so that I had a tab for them sticking out of the top. So I would like to kind of make it right around here so that I have 2 holes punched on this end and 3 holes punched up here, but clearly there's not enough room. The backing of each of these little pads of sticky notes is pretty securely attached. So if you take off a stack of sticky notes, except for the backing, you will find that if you pull this off, it is pretty tough to not leave residue. So what I'm going to do is do some minor surgery here and come back. I have found that if you use either Goo Gone or maybe Undo. I haven't tried Undo. I don't have any Undo, but I'd like to try some of that. But if you have some orange essential oil, you can actually remove the sticky after all of these are off. So if I were to just peel this whole thing off and leave a bit of a mess, then I could dab some orange essential oil on it and then scrape the rest off with my little Cricut scraper and start fresh with a new adhesive and move these sticky notes over so that I have enough of a margin to punch the holes. Okay, so now obviously it was just as I suspected, because I did try this on another set. I will have to use some sort of solvent to get this off. So I have some orange essential oil. I'm just going to dab it on here and then scrape off the residue and then clean it thoroughly and then punch my holes and then replace the sticky notes. Here's the essential oil that I'm using. It's really called Citrus Bliss. I don't have orange, but I've dabbed some on all of these spots and then I'm going into the kitchen to remove it. Okay, so it did take a little bit of scraping and I used my little Cricut. I started off, before I had a silhouette, I started off with a Cricut, and this was a set of Cricut tools for peeling off die cuts and things from your cutting mat. And I found that this little tiny spatula is so great for picking off stickers when you're planning, you make a mistake or you need to reschedule. So I used that spatula to help scrape these off. Now what I'm going to do, and you may not want to do this, but I'm going to trim off this coiled edge and try to round the corners the best that I can to match at the top. The paper cutter that I have is Boston brand, and it's one of those office type paper cutters. So I cut off the bottom edge as close as I could to the coil, and now I will carefully, I don't have a corner rounder. I wish that I had one of those Creative Memories corner rounders. I used to have one and it bit the dust. So I'm going to use scissors and just do the best I can. This is the A5 paper cutter that I have, which I bought at Michael's, and I said it was Recollections, and I still think it was, but I don't see Recollections written anywhere. So I can't be 100% positive about that, but it is nice and heavy duty. And it has these little guide grooves here and here, which is where, if you have a standard A5 size, you would line up the top and the bottom there and ensure that your holes are punched the correct distance from the top and the bottom. So with this, I want the holes to be, I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. Oh, I know. I took a page out, and I think the best thing to do is going to be to use the page as a guide. So I'll slide both of these in at the same time and then carefully remove the paper. I'm so happy with how that turned out. I was a little nervous before I pushed down on it. But now what we'll do, since we know how much room we have to work with, is replace those sticky notes. For reference, let's look at what they looked like when they were on the backing going this way. Okay, so I want these sticky notes to be arranged so that I can write on them this way instead of turning it that way. So I'll be rearranging, but I'll use this as a guide. All right, this is a good rough placement, and I want a stronger adhesive to hold these on than just the removable adhesive that is on the back of the first sticky note. So I will use a plain sticky note, and I'll actually put the sticky part on top of the other sticky part, and you'll see why. But then I'll trim around it. And then now that I have it with a white backing on it, I will use my ATG gun to put permanent adhesive just on the back, not as much as what was on here before, because if I want to redo this with other sticky notes, I don't want to have to go to the same amount of trouble scraping off the adhesive. So I have this right here, my Scotch Advanced Tape Glider, which you can load with removable adhesive or permanent adhesive. And right now I have permanent in it. So I just put one stripe of it down the back, and I think from the back of this, the view won't be too messy. And you can see here, if you just rely on the back sticky note, that's not a strong enough adhesive. So let's see how strong this is. And let's see what it looks like. Yeah, that's fine. So I'll go into time lapse and do the others this way. Honestly, I cannot be happier with how this turned out. I have a backing that's secure, and I hope you understood, if I didn't explain properly, why I put the sticky note backing on sticky to sticky. That is just so that they have a stronger grip on each other, and then I use the non-sticky side of the sticky note to use my permanent adhesive tape runner to secure these to the back of to the backing. And you can just sort of see where I did a stripe of each one. And this is really no more unsightly than if you considered the back of the stylized sticky notes as they originally come unsightly, because you did see a little bit of that adhesive. And now I have a tab at the top where I can find these sticky notes. I can just feel up here and go straight to where my sticky notes are. So this could serve as a bookmark, but at the very least, I can find my sticky notes with that tab. And then I cut little slits beside the holes so that I don't have to open the rings. And then because I've experimented a little bit already, I knew that I needed to cut 2 slits. You can pop it on with just 1 slit, but it's a whole lot easier if you make that slit just a little bit wider, especially if you're dealing with thicker materials. So the thicker the material, I would say, the more you would need the slit to be a little bit wider. And so I'll show you how these pop in. Like that. Piece of cake. Really like these. These are secure. They're on here in a way that they're right side up for me, and I don't have to turn them. It doesn't stick out beyond the size of the A5 pages, so I'm much happier this way. Now, if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I've got to start this planner right away. There's no waiting until July 1st, especially when I don't have to wait till July 1st. So I'm going to open the inserts that came in the pack that goes from July 2022 to December 2022. I'm going to pull out November 2022, and I will use that as June 2021 because the dates align with the days of the week the same way, and you have the same number of days in the month. It's a little bit too close to the end of May for me to go to that trouble for using October 2022 to replace or substitute for May 2021. So I will skip that and just start with November 2022, making it June 2021, a June 1st start. I learned last year from some other brilliant planners that you should always get the 18-month planner when you've given the choice. For one thing, even if you are not going to use your last 6 months of that planner, you will be able to either practice on some of those pages or redate some of those pages to do what I'm doing right now, which is to add a month to the beginning. I know that at the end of 12 months, I will not continue to use this same setup. I will want to go with the brand new life planner that comes out a year from now. So when I ordered 18 months, it was with the plan of not even utilizing the last 6 months the way they are dated currently. So I got 3 packs of these. The first pack is already in here. That's July through December 2021. Here is January to June 2022. I will use this, but I will not need this pack. So we're going to open it up and take November out. Even though I'm not using that pack, I do want to save this vellum sheet and the sticker sheet of supplemental holidays that are in the back, and check to see if there are any notes pages. Yes, here's a notes page I might want. This tab is going to fall where August falls, and I would much prefer that it be up here where this November falls. So I'm simply going to snip this off and move it up. Now that the tab is in the position where I want it, I'm going to make a cover similar to what I made in my weekly agenda. Here you go, except I don't want green for this June. So I will just go back to the drawing board in my Silhouette software and change this to a color that matches this sort of taupe. Guys, this is a little tricky to explain, but when I made tabs for my colorful MCC A5, I didn't save the file, and I didn't want to go through the process of this again. So what I decided to do was use these little Avery stickers that are 1.5 inches wide by 3/4 of an inch tall. And I'm going to fold these over that November tab, and it will say June. So what I did on my Silhouette software was to just design little boxes that are with the right measurements. This is enlarged, that say June, and on this tan flora background. And I just picked up the background from this image that was on the Erin Condren website. And it's close enough. It might not be exactly the right thing, but that's the color that I used. And then I removed this sticker so that I could clearly see the top and bottom of one of these little stickers. And then I held it up to the light so that the first June was centered on this label here. So what I'm going to do now is replace that sticker that I took out. And if this works, I'm going to feed it right back through the printer the same way. And hopefully when it comes out, it will have a row of 5 June tabs. Let's see if it works. Well, it worked. So here is the top sticker off of this, and it's not going to be exactly the same size as this width-wise, but because the color is so close, it doesn't matter if I've got a little bit of November hanging off of the sides. So let's try to place this properly. That side looks good. If we can keep it on, I can add some extra adhesive underneath this if needed. but I'm going to reinforce it afterwards with some clear packaging tape. Okay, I think I want it right there. That side doesn't look as perfect, but this side looks fine to me. And I've got this just postage tape, and I like to pull off a little more than I need, and then I don't want the jagged edge, so I'll use my scissors to trim that and cover the tab. Yes, my fingerprints are on that. But that just means that if an archaeologist comes along many years from now and they unearth my planners, they will be able to trace this planner back to me with the DNA that I left behind on the tape, okay? It's all part of my plan. What is on my fingers? I think it's lotion, because after I used that essential oil, I washed my hands and I put lotion on. Okay, and then we're gonna trim this part off. Is it perfect? No, but it's kind of close. And if we want to be overachievers, we can round these corners. And we probably do want to be overachievers, right? Maybe I can make this one go right into the Avery label. Don't do it. I sure enough did it. And then, you know what? The good news is when June is over, I can just toss it. But that looks okay. We will add November 2022 with a June tab into the planner. And this has a June 1st start. We will have to cover up the Novembers, but the dates are in the right place. And we'll have to cover up the holidays. So here's something we cover up. That's not a big deal. You can just wipe that out and put a June sticker. Put a little sticker over top of these. The November is not up here. The November is only here. So this is a little easier than what I anticipated. We can leave all of this the same and cover up, you know, daylight savings time in the wrong place and what have you. But now we have a June start. Okay, so I'm not gonna do a plan with me in this one. I'm gonna head over to my hourly binder to do my plan with me now. But I wanted to show you what was in that bag and how I'm setting it up. I'm so excited to use this. Check back in frequently, and we will move into our planners together. I know that Erin Condren, by the way, Erin Condren said that 9% of their orders were delayed, and they are very sorry, but they said that everybody's planner should ship by the middle of this coming week. So say around May 26th. Everybody's planner should ship by then. So if you haven't had a chance to move in yet because your order was delayed, hang in there. It's coming soon. And I, interestingly, did get a delayed notice on this, but it wasn't delayed very much. All right, so congratulations to those who guessed that I was getting a flora, but no one guessed the camel. All right, I will see you over on my plan with me later on, hopefully this evening. Bye-bye.